Hey everybody, this is Eric Worre, and welcome to NetworkMarketingPro.com. I'm here with Tom Alkazin. How you doing, Tom?
Eric, I'm great. Good to see you.
It's nice to see you.
Great to be with you. An honor to be with you.
Oh, it's my pleasure. And then this gentleman's been around the profession for how long? How long have you been involved in network marketing?
You're going to date me?
I am going to date you.
38 years.
Get out of here, for real?
You know what? Let's see. I just figured it out. I started when you were 11 you were 11 years old. That's scary.
38 years. 38 years.
38 years.
Really?
Started when I was 23.
Wow. So you're about, 11 years older than me. Got it.
Correct.
What did you first get involved with? What was the company?
The Amway Corporation.
The Amway Corporation.
Yeah,
Way back in the day.
Way back. I was 23 years old, and awesome experience.
And how long were you involved with them?
12 years.
12 years.
12 years. Came out of college with a degree in engineering. And came home to San Diego from the University of San Francisco to spend the summer at the beach. And sitting at work one day, August 9th, 1975, and a friend of mine's mom from high school calls me and says, I want you to take Richard to this business meeting. Now the irony of that was she wasn't involved in the business at all.
Right.
And her son wasn't working at the time, and
get him to work.
exactly.
Do something.
She thought that if I would go, that he'd go.
Right.
So I was the hook, so to speak. I said I wasn't interested in doing that. I said I was going to the racetrack at Del Mar because you get in free for the last 2 races. Because I wasn't broke, I was way below broke.
You sure?
You ever been below broke?
Nope.
Below zero.
Oh yeah.
And she said, I'll buy your dinner. I said, I'm all in. I'll go. And so I sit before you today as a product of a free meal.
So a free meal, a free meal. You go and sit and watch them show the plan.
Well, you know what? Walked into a small meeting, 15 people, and my life changed that night. Little did I know it at the time, but saw that idea, that concept of being able to build something, to build residual or continuing income, and I thought, where has that been? That is like the 9th wonder of the world.
The American way.
Where's that been? And however, not low self-esteem, but mid-range. Really didn't think, saw all of that, understood it all, but started with the hopes of making $200. I thought if I could make $200, that'd be good.
How did you get the money to get started?
Borrowed it from my mother.
I borrowed mine from my dad.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Borrowed it from my mom because I didn't have the money.
You went to mom and said, and what was
Went to mom.
was the
Well,
sell?
it wasn't. $1,000 was the best way to begin. It wasn't the requirement to get involved, but that's the way I wanted to begin. So I went to my mom and I said, with all the people that say they don't have any money, right? I said, you got a mom? I had a mom. And so I said, Mom, I need to borrow a credit card. I said, I'll take responsibility for it. And I said, this is something I really want to do. And she said, okay. And I did and paid her back.
Thank God for moms.
Thank God for moms. We all got one.
So what happened with Richard?
Richard was my sponsor.
So Richard got in.
Was
he going to get in before you were excited?
No.
Or after you were excited?
After I was excited.
You got excited and then he said, oh, now I'm excited.
He's in. He was in. And Richard quit.
Of course.
Of course. And
one of the all-time bad moves.
Richard, great guy. Tried to stay in touch with him. I think he's a restaurant manager somewhere up in the Northern California area today. And awesome family. But he opened the door. His mom opened the door. So
for 12 years. So you were involved with Amway for 12 years.
12 years.
And what happened to your career during that period of time?
Well, reached the diamond level in
Nice.
Amway as a single guy. And,
They erect statues for the diamonds over there, don't they? Don't you get a statue in your hometown?
It's
a big deal.
Awesome company, tough deal to build. Tough deal to build.
But here's what I've heard about the company from everybody. I've never been involved with it, but everybody that I know, one of the best training grounds on planet Earth.
It's just
for personal
you took the words right out of my mouth. I learned in principle the things that have made us millions and millions and millions of dollars. I learned it there. The foundation was set there, and I'll be forever thankful and ever grateful.
So, but you made a move, which is sometimes really, it's like leaving the church a little bit, right?
It's a great analogy. Yeah.
It's a tough deal sometimes.
It was a really tough deal, and it was actually Bethany, my wife. My wife and I met there, and Bethany had met some friends, and
She talked to somebody from another church.
From another church, exactly. And she said, I'm going to do this. And I said, are you out of your mind? I can't believe.
Lost the faith?
Yeah. I mean, I was going to be excommunicated. Or there's another term for it in network marketing.
I know.
Anyway, and, you know what? Here's what it was. And I'm so grateful to her because she had the vision of seeing beyond. She saw the concept. We had a difficult time in that duplication process, and we saw some things she saw some things initially that attracted her. She made $8,000 in her second month, and I said, "How come my name's not on that check?" and so the transition became a little bit easier. I mean, it was tough because we, of course, create
all the relationships.
Yeah, all the relationships. It's all about people.
Yeah, it's not. I wish that our profession was filled with people who joined one company and stayed there for their entire career.
Forever, yeah.
But sometimes you need to go someplace to learn in order to be able to go to another place. Not like you're trying to jump from thing to thing.
Yeah.
But if somebody's been involved for 38 years, they've probably been involved with 4 or 5. Four.
That's my fourth.
Okay. Yeah, and
4 chapters.
That, 4 chapters. I mean, and that's if you're involved in your corporate life for 38 years, there's probably 3 or 4. That doesn't make the other ones evil. That doesn't make a person a corporation hopper or
Great
something.
Analogy.
You know what I mean?
Great analogy.
It's just kind of the way it's going to be.
Yeah.
You always wish that you're there forever.
Yeah.
You build it as if you're there forever.
Yeah.
And if circumstances present themselves, and which they do from time to time.
Yeah. Exactly.
Sometimes you need to do something for the sake of your career, the sake of your family.
Yep. Exactly.
Sometimes loyalty is a two-way street, right?
It is.
As long as
it is indeed.
it's being returned.
That's right.
Then that's good.
And I think as long as
it's a little bit, just so what I just talked about there, I know that's a little bit controversial. In the people say, "Oh, you can't talk about that." Yeah. Well, it's the reality.
It's the real world.
Come on. It's just not everybody's a fit for every company. It's just the way it is. Not I wish it was, but it's not.
And I think it's all about mentorship.
Sure.
It's about and we were very, very fortunate to have created an incredible relationship in that first chapter that became the bridge to the second chapter.
Nice.
And the ability to have something more than a line of sponsorship, really people that cared about you. You felt that caring. You felt that understanding. They understood frustrations. We understood frustrations. And so the fact of having that mentorship relationship helped a lot.
So you're in your early 30s and you had this transition. What happened? What was the next chapter like?
Well, the next chapter was really solely into health and nutrition at that point, and just an incredible jump in terms of financial productivity.
Sure.
And I think I think that was, Eric, honestly, I think it was partially the opportunity, but it was partially also a new and fresh approach where we took the skills that we'd already learned, the GoPro skills, and we went to the next step. Okay, and so we had a new environment to be able to apply those skills, and obviously if the opportunity accelerates, then you've got the ability for the income jumps as well.
So what happened to your income?
Tripled.
So what was the highest before?
$12,000 a month.
12,000 a month was your biggest?
Yes, in chapter 1.
In chapter 1, which is huge.
Which is huge. Well,
outside of books and tapes.
It was no books and tapes.
Oh, wow.
We were in the other side of the fence.
Wow.
We were not in the book and tape business.
Wow.
Yeah, that was all comp plan. And yeah. And
okay, so you went from 12 to 36.
36. Yeah.
So you're in your early 30s.
We were correct.
You're making $36,000 a month when $36,000 a month meant something.
That's right. It was
big money.
It was a lot of money today.
I understand, but it was big money. Like triple.
Yeah. So this would have been 1986, 87, 88, right in that range. Yeah.
Cool.
So and we thought that we died and gone to heaven.
Right.
This was amazing, and then the company failed.
Yeah. It happens from time to time.
Yeah, the company failed, and
sometimes they're just so generous with the field. Maybe they pay too much, or maybe they make some mistakes.
They spend too much. In that case.
Spend too much.
Yeah.
They think it's never going to stop growing. They have a level off month, and they get wiped out.
Exactly. So. So it became, so
It's
here.
disastrous when
Yeah.
that happens, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just absolute.
never
Did you ever,
forget.
did you ever think, I'm done?
It was, no.
Never?
Never
You
thought
never
that.
thought, they
Never-
let me down.
No, you
make too
because-
much money,
Yeah,
you've
you
seen
know
too
what?
much evidence.
We had the lifestyle. We enjoyed, and the thing that Bethany and I enjoyed, our kids, Chris, Brad's older brother had been born, and Brad was born, and so, we had mobility, we had freedom as a couple, raising our kids, I was the only dad at field trips, right? It was all the other moms, and they said, wow, how come you're here, And I said, well, I'm semi-retired. They say, you're not old enough to be retired. I said,
Right.
It takes money, not age.
Right, right.
But it gave us all kinds of mobility. It gave us great freedom, to be able to. And we didn't want to give that up. What am I going to do, So, but I'll never forget that phone call. When that phone call came and they said that the
There won't
checks
be
aren't
another
coming
check.
now, and they're not coming ever, and it was December 15th, and grown men were crying on that phone call, talking about having to take Christmas presents back. I mean, it was devastating. And so it was the following, it was that 4-month period of time after that where we had to make some decisions.
So this 4-month period of time. So so you end up finding chapter 3.
Chapter 3,
And,
same with the same mentors.
okay, we're gonna go do it again.
Same relationship, and of course then
Kind of held the team together as best you could.
as best we could, but chapter 1 to 2 didn't hold well
Right.
together, and 2 to 3, there's always that difficulty and that transition. But one of the things that we've always done is we've always endeavored to create relationships first, and the relationships are the strength of what we've been able to even build today, no question about it. And so, some key relationships came with us, and then we had yet even a greater growth. We've been blessed, and we're so fortunate that our curve of growth has not been like this. It's been like this.
Wow.
I mean, which is hard. Just based
that's
conditionally, it's
rare.
hard to find in the
It's
industry.
rare, yeah.
And again, I attribute that to that great relationship that started in chapter 1, that continued in chapter 2, and then in chapter 3 it just tripled again almost
Tripled again.
in income to up over $93,000 a month.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you ever get it to 100?
Not there, but we
a
have
magic
now.
number, isn't
Oh
it?
yeah. Oh yeah.
You're always shooting for it.
So anyway, it was in the that of course, greater mobility, greater freedom, a bigger realization that when you put people first,
Yep.
first and foremost, and when you put the needs of people that you're dealing with, when you put that center stage, then I don't care what aspect of your business you're building, whether you're teaching people how to approach people, you're teaching people how to present, you're teaching people how to close, whatever it might be, when needs become all-centric, man, your success rate just skyrockets.
Yeah.
And that's what we experienced there. And, and I think we were incredibly fortunate also, though, to have just tremendous evolution of opportunities that followed us to the point that gave us the mobility after about 6 years and over about $7 million of income, really to step back from the industry a little bit. Our boys were growing up, and Chris and Brad were playing high school basketball. I was coaching a little bit, and it gave Bethany and I it really gave us the freedom that is always talked about, that everybody wants, but are you ever able to, like you were sharing, that no man's land of $100,000 a year. You pay your taxes and what's left.
Right.
You got to get up and over that hump to
Yeah.
be able to really capture that. And yet, as I always share people, where are you going to go? What's your plan B? Where do you have a chance to be able to hit that financial home run other than this industry?
Right. So, in total, over the course of your career, how much have you earned?
$26 million.
$26 million.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
And chapter 4 has more than tripled, almost quadrupled.
And what are you at, what will you earn this year, for example, approximately?
3.8.
$3.8 million.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, incredible. I mean, we pinch ourselves, but hey.
So next year will be, 30, and then
Yeah, I mean,
soon to be 40.
we give God all the glory. I mean,
Wow.
we've been blessed. We have a personal philosophy. I don't know how people believe, but we just believe that if you pray like it all depends on Him and you work like it all depends on you, you can't beat that combination.
That's a
based
great.
upon however you believe.
That's a great thought.
So and here's the fulfillment now. We've really been able to see the business become a family business. Chris, our oldest son, is 30 years old and full time in the business. Brad, of course, who is become a legend in his own age group. In terms of what he's done and what he's launched. And our daughter Amy, who just got married, is at $250,000 a year in income. At 23 years old, and so we as a
family, I mean, what will your family make this year?
Well, we haven't figured out the year. In March of this year, it was
$600,000.
We made $650,000 in the month of March.
So your family's going to be like $7 million, $8 million this year.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So
how fun is that?
Oh, it's amazing. But
what's Christmas like? What do you guys give each other?
It's
like
every
airplanes?
And it's every week.
Wait. Well, Dad, you get a helicopter. Oh, okay. You get a golf course.
That's right. I'm waiting for Brad to retire us. I mean, he says he's going to retire his parents, so I'm waiting for that to happen.
My gosh.
But honestly, here's the greatest fulfillment of all, though. I mean, clearly you want to get to a point where you have no debt. You have all sorts of new decisions that you get to enjoy in terms of investing and what you do with what you've been given. But here's the greatest fulfillment. We're seeing just scores of people in our organization that earn $100, $200, $300,
your
$500,000.
Your income is a measure of how many people you're helping.
Exactly.
I mean, it's not a zero-sum game. You're winning and they're losing. It's not about that at all.
But so much of that goes to professionals like you, to your credit, because what you've done with GoPro, what so many great industry experts, whether you're strictly in the personal development arena or whether you are in the network marketing arena, from the standpoint of teaching people, like you say, how to seriously go about this. I always said, become a student of the business.
Right.
Your book has done so much to elevate everybody's vision of because let's face it, we fight that out there all the time in the industry. We fight all the negativity that comes with the labeling of the industry.
Sure.
And so you've played a huge role.
And the principles are old, aren't they?
Oh, networking 101. I mean,
they're not going to the principles that are in there are going to be good for 20 years. But you
took it in a way, you put it in a way that people can understand it, that they can absorb it, that they can utilize it, and we're such promoters of it, of not only what you've done, but of personal development in general. Because Rich DeVos in Amway said it years ago. If you'll build the people, the people will build the business.
Yeah.
And so
all those greats, Rich DeVos and Art Williams, pushing up people, and all of those greats.
That's what GoPro is all about.
Yeah.
Building you up as a person, as a professional in the industry.
Yeah. Tell me, what are the things that the big things that are the fundamental, foundational pillars of your success? What are the 3 or 4 things that you are just solid with that are difference makers?
Well, number one is you've got to be consistent. If consistency is not part of this regime of what you want to build, then I always tell people, check your dreams and then check your calendar. Because you're going to find out something about.
You'll see a lot, won't you?
You're going to see a lot about is the thing I really want to create. Is it match up in my daily activity? So we try to teach people, do one positive thing, even part-time. Do one positive thing for your business every single day. Whether that's a new customer or that's a new partner, whatever it might be, but one positive activity that grows your organization by one person. And that's not management, that's not inventory, that's not accounting. It's the growth related activity. Right. So I'd say that that's number one. Number two is you have to stay plugged in. You know, if you don't, the moment you disengage, the moment you
From the calls, from the events,
calls,
from
the events,
the activities,
the
communication, the relationships.
Yeah, you're done. You're
Yeah.
done. It's only a matter of time. And everybody thinks, you know, I can do this, I can do this, I can handle this. You know, it is crucial that you stay plugged in. I mean, I remember early on, I'm talking 30 plus years ago, driving to events I didn't have anybody to take, but I knew I needed to be there. And maybe I'd learn one phrase, maybe I'd learn one concept at that time. Or maybe somebody's story that night lifted me up who I hadn't met before. You know, and it was a process of raising that consistency and staying plugged in, raised my belief just a little bit more.
Just enough.
And that little lift in belief enabled me, number 2, to come home, take action, and then, of course, number 3, realize another successful experience. So, you know, stay plugged in, do something positive every single day. And then, and thirdly, I'd say you've got to invest in yourself. You know, in good books, in what you're reading, what you're listening to. You know, back to what Rich said. You know, build people. The people will build the business. And so we're trying to always make certain that personal development and reading and listening to professionals like yourself is always part of the equation.
So number 1 was consistency.
Consistency, yeah.
Number 2 was stay plugged in.
Stay plugged in, right.
And number 3, continue to invest in yourself.
Right.
Invest in you. Work on your skills. Work on your attitude.
Right.
Work on your emotions. Work on your
Get better.
everything. Just get better. A little bit every day.
Get better every day.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's the magic. I mean, people want instant everything, and it's
Yeah.
not that way. You
Right.
know, I mean, but I remember in chapter 1, I remember an illustration that night where the guy that was speaking held his hands up and he said, I'm going to show you tonight a way to take what most people spend 40 years of their life doing, meaning what you have at the end of 40, right? And how you can squeeze that down into 5 to 7 years. I remember him holding his hands like that, and I thought, you know what, if that's true, I'm all in. I don't know what that is. I don't know how it works. I don't know what's involved, but I got to figure that out.
You know what? One thing. There's a lot of those old stories that we stopped doing.
Yeah. Yes, we do.
When was the last time you did that in a meeting?
Yeah. This?
Yeah.
I do this a lot.
Do that a lot?
Yeah, yeah.
All right. But a lot of those things,
No, yeah,
we become so cool.
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
that-
it's so slick.
You know, we forgot the stuff that worked
Yeah.
so good, or the
Well,
stuff that impacted
yeah,
us.
never forget-
I'm glad you continue to do that.
Never forget from whence
condense those
Yeah,
things.
from whence we came.
Right.
I mean, I'll never forget the number $200. I mean, I started only with the belief that I could do that. You know, but I started with that, okay? And when I made 2, I figured out how to make 4. And I made 4, I thought, wow, maybe I could make $800.
Yep.
Are you kidding? $800? I only made $1,000 a month as an entry-level engineer at the
Yeah.
time.
And
So-
part-time, you can make an extra 800.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Exactly. So I think it's so critically important that we never forget that.
Yeah. So I'm a huge fan of defining moments. These stories that happen in our life that change everything, you know,
Yeah.
that have an impact on our families, have an impact on us.
Yeah.
You know, when I'm kind of mentioning that, does something come to mind?
Well, for sure. For us as a family, we had an almost tragic experience happen. We were actually on our way to a family reunion in July of 2005, and we had landed in South Carolina. We were driving up Highway 17 at night, and there was it had stormed that night, and there was nobody on the road. It was a 2-lane highway going each way. And Bethany was in the front seat, and our 3 kids, Chris, Brad, and Amy, were in the back. We're in a large SUV, and I remember as we're going along, going about 60 miles an hour, and all of a sudden I saw this large black area in front of me, and I thought, what in the world is that? And before I knew it, it was on us. Well, it was 3 feet of standing water that was on the freeway.
No. At 60?
At 60 miles an hour. Well, we hit the brakes, and we hit it, and we began to spin, of course. Hit the car spun, hit the side of the road, went up in the air, barrel rolled 3 times, and we landed upside down in 6 feet of water. Now it's pitch black at night, and I remember I think actually when my side of the car had hit the pavement, it blew out the windshield. I'd hit the side of my head. I think I'd gone unconscious till we landed upside down in the water. And I remember the water all over my face because it kind of woke me up, and I thought, gosh, there's water on my face. But I didn't realize we were underwater, and I took a deep breath, my lungs filled up, and I was gone. I was out. And I don't remember anything actually until waking up in the hospital. But as it turned out, Bethany and I, we really call that a night of miracles because it was. We remember that seeing, as she told me later on, we saw a car in the rearview mirror. It was a lady that was on her way home from work. It was 12:30 at night. She had seen us go off the road, and she'd called 911, and because Bethany, as the car was filling up, we're upside down, right? It's pitch black. The kids had about this much air. Their heads were up like this, just able to breathe. And Bethany remembered just all of a sudden saying, "Oh my gosh, we're going to drown." And then she remembered her kids, and she said a prayer, and in an instant, she was out of the car. She does not know how she got out of the car. She later the next day, when they towed the car, fast forward, and they saw the automobile, that her seatbelt was still fastened across the back of the seat. So she got out of the car, and then Chris, our oldest son, was able to swim out, and Brad swam out and went back in the car to save his sister's life because she was panicked. Her hip was dislocated, and so he went back in and gashed up his back going back into the car to get her out. In the meantime, I remember trying to reach for the seatbelt before, but the seatbelt was jammed, and so I was underwater for about 6 minutes, and two guys appeared up on the side of the road by the time, and they weren't the people from that car. Bethany actually doesn't remember who they were, and she said, "My husband's trapped in the car," and they ran down with, like she always says, she loves Southern boys with guns and knives because he had a pocket knife. I don't know if you ever tried to cut a seatbelt. It's not easy to do, but he cut through that seatbelt, and they lifted me out and took me back up, and by that time, a sheriff who we become a great friend with actually was there on the scene, and he started to try to revive me. And anyway, the long and the short of the story is those two guys that we tried to find the next day. Of course, I'm in intensive care. Brad goes back with his uncle the next day to the accident scene because all of our luggage is in the water, and those two guys are back up on the side of the road the next day and tapped Brad on the shoulder and said, "We're the guys that helped your dad get out last night." And we later tried to find those guys, could never find them, as it turns out. Long and the short of the story is it was a night of miracles for our family, and I'm on overtime. I'm definitely in overtime because we know that the good Lord gave our family a second chance that night and an opportunity, really, the message to be able to do something. And we often think and pray about that, about what do you want us to do in terms of being able to make a difference. And so it was a night of miracles for our family, and the opportunity to say, well, Lord, you're not done with us yet, so there must be something else we need to do.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, what a great story.
Yeah.
And what a great purpose. I think we're all here for a reason. We're all here for a purpose. If a test to see if our mission on life is done is if we're alive, it's not done.
Exactly.
We still got some stuff left to do.
Yep.
And I know you guys are making a lot of money, and right now I know it's also not about the money.
Yes.
I know it's about legacy. It's about contribution. It's about giving back. It's about how many other people you can help.
Yeah.
I get that.
It's really about, for us, giving back.
Yeah.
The analogy we use is, hey, we're going to climb the ladder, and then we're going to turn around and we're going to hold the ladder for you.
And we're going to show you how to do it.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, one of my friends in the business is making $1 million a month in network marketing. The reason he decided to make that happen is he wants to make $1 million a month normal. He just wants to, to where if you're making $1 million a year, that's everywhere.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah.
And network marketing can give it to everybody.
That's right.
We have the vehicle.
That's right.
To
That's
be able
exactly
to do
right.
it. We've
That's
got the
exactly
skill
right.
set to be able to do it. We've got the vehicle to be able to do it. We just got to go do it.
Just make it happen.
Right?
That's right.
So thank you for your contribution
Oh my gosh.
to the profession.
My pleasure.
I know that millions of lives have changed because of you and just your decision to be an ambassador, to be a leader, to be a gentleman in the profession. I haven't heard a single bad word ever spoken about you.
Oh.
All I hear is people say, the guy's got a heart of gold. He'd give you the shirt off his back. He's a gentleman in the profession, and that's all anybody ever says about you and your family.
Thank you so much. We
Yeah.
appreciate it. Appreciate you, Eric, and all you're doing.
It's my pleasure,
You're making
man.
a huge impact. We appreciate
doing it
you, brother.
together.
Absolutely, we are.
All right.
Absolutely, we are.
Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you got value from this. If you did, comment below, send Tom some love, share this with your friends, and ladies and gentlemen, our wish for you is that you decide to become a network marketing professional. You decide to go pro, because it is a stone cold fact that we've got a better way. Now let's go tell the world. Everybody have a great day. We'll see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.
As a new skin distributor, you never have to worry about the technology systems that keep your business running. With our innovative IT solutions and secure high-speed data technology, you can focus on your business with the confidence that every minute of every day, we are here to ensure your business operates smoothly. Imagine having to calculate sales tax, income tax, and currency conversion on every transaction, all while trying to run your worldwide business. With our global seamless compensation plan, you don't have to. Our systems do the work for you. Our systems gather all Nu Skin transactions from around the world to ensure that every one of your transactions is included in your commissions payment. The order information arrives here at the Global Network Operations Center. The transaction information is processed here, and your commission is calculated accurately, including sales tax and currency calculations. Then you receive your commissions payment on time and in your currency.